Okay, let's dive in. Because what we're talking about today, it feels less like today's news and maybe more like something out of a sci-fi novel almost.
It really does have that feel, doesn't it?
We're looking at Russia's new national plan. It's a directive, actually, from President Putin himself.
Focused squarely on anti-aging.
Yeah, tackling aging, extending human life, seriously ambitious stuff.
And our source for this, an article called Russia's Anti-Aging Plan, Putin's Longevity Ambitions, lays it out pretty clearly. This isn't just, wishful thinking.
No, it's a formal thing, a proper initiative.
Exactly. With specific goals, defined research areas.
Yeah.
So our mission here is to really unpack it. What's the science? Who are the key players? What could it all well mean?
Right, both for Russia and, potentially wider than that.
Precisely.
So let's start with the why. Why now? Why this huge push?
Well, the article points out it kicked off in early 2024. Putin issued a direct order.
Not just a suggestion, then.
No, an instruction. Develop these anti-aging medical strategies and do it urgently.
And the goal they've set? It's pretty staggering. Saving 175,000 lives by 2030.
It's a huge number.
Yep.
And when you look at the background, the article mentions Russia's life expectancy.
Yeah. It's been declining, hasn't it?
Yep, to just over 73 years. So, that context is important.
It suggests maybe it's not just about pushing scientific boundaries.
Could be. It might also be a response to a pressing public health issue within the country.
Okay, so a big goal, a sense of urgency, possibly driven by these internal factors. But how? How do you even begin to tackle something like aging?
The Russian Health Ministry has apparently outlined 4 key pillars, scientific pillars.
Right, what's the first one?
The first is all about developing treatments to slow down cellular aging, going right to the source, sort of.
Cellular aging, so like the fundamental biological processes.
Exactly. That's the bedrock, really. Things like telomere shortening, DNA damage accumulating.
The stuff that happens inside our cells as time goes on.
Yeah. And the mitochondria, the cell's power plants, getting less efficient. This research tries to understand that better and, crucially, find ways to intervene.
Are they looking at anything particularly cutting edge there?
Well, the idea of targeting senescent cells, those are cells that stop dividing but don't die and cause problems. That's a big focus globally. It's about maybe resetting things, not just slowing them down.
Okay, interesting. What's the second pillar?
That moves into neurotechnology.
The brain.
Yeah. Focusing on detecting and treating cognitive and sensory decline. Things like Alzheimer's, dementia.
Issues that definitely become more common with age.
Precisely. So the idea is better, earlier diagnosis, and therapies to slow or maybe even reverse some of that decline, improving quality of life.
Any specific tech they're highlighting?
The source doesn't detail uniquely Russian methods, but globally, things like brain-computer interfaces, neuromodulation, it's a hot field. Russia's plan probably taps into those trends.
Makes sense. Then pillar number 3.
This one's fascinating. Reprogramming the immune system to slow aging.
Reprogramming the immune system. Wow, okay. How does that work?
Well, our immune system gets weaker as we age.
Wow.
It's called immunosenescence. We get more vulnerable to infections. Vaccines don't work as well.
Right.
So this research looks at how to kind of rejuvenate it, keep it working like it did when we were younger.
Like boosting specific immune cells.
Potentially, yeah. Things like T cells are crucial, and they decline. There's research into manipulating signaling molecules. It's complex, but the goal is a more robust immune defense in later life.
Okay, intricate stuff. And the fourth pillar?
Bioprinting.
Right, using living cells like ink in a 3D printer to create tissues.
Exactly, for treating injuries, diseases, replacing damaged parts.
This one feels, well, maybe the most immediately graspable, especially given something mentioned later in the article.
Absolutely. Huge potential in regenerative medicine. Building tissues layer by layer. Replacement skin, cartilage, maybe eventually organs, though that's further off.
So those are the 4 main scientific tracks. Now, the article brings in a person, Mikhail Kovalchuk.
Yes. Head of the Kurchatov Institute. And, significantly, a close Putin ally.
And he's 77, with apparently a strong personal interest in eternal life.
That's what the article suggests. His involvement definitely adds a layer, having someone so prominent, so connected with that kind of interest.
It signals high-level backing, I guess.
You'd think so. His age and personal investment probably add momentum.
Okay, let's shift to actual tangible progress, because it's not all just research proposals, is it?
No, and this is important. Moscow's Burdenko Hospital back in December 2023.
They did the first inpatient surgery using bioprinted material in Russia.
Correct. That's a concrete step. It shows this isn't purely theoretical, at least in the bioprinting area.
They're actually using the tech.
They are. It's likely simpler tissues for now, maybe skin or cartilage, but it's a real-world application. It proves the concept is moving forward.
Still a big step from theory to practice.
A very significant step. But, we should be a bit cautious. One surgery doesn't mean it's all solved. Scalability, long-term results. Those are still big questions.
Of course. And that brings us to the hurdles, the skepticism. The article notes the budget isn't public.
Yeah, that lack of transparency always raises flags with big science projects. How much are they really investing?
Hard to tell.
And this kind of research, fundamental aging science, it's inherently super expensive and complex.
No guarantees of quick breakthroughs.
Absolutely not. It's often a long, winding road from the lab to the clinic with plenty of dead ends.
Plus, does Russia actually have enough specialists, people with the right skills for this cutting-edge stuff?
That's another potential bottleneck the article touches on. You need a deep pool of talent in cellular biology, neurotech, immunology, bioprinting.
Highly specialized fields.
Very. If there's a shortage of those experts, it could definitely slow things down.
And it seems not everyone in Russia is convinced this is the best use of resources.
Right. There are different perspectives. Some see it as bold, visionary.
A big gamble, maybe.
While others might see it as, well, a distraction, diverting funds and focus from more immediate healthcare problems.
Like fixing the basics first.
That's the classic debate with these moonshot projects, isn't it? Finite resources, competing priorities, improving basic care versus betting on long-term high-risk research.
So definitely not a straightforward path. Makes you wonder about realistic timelines.
Indeed. Significant breakthroughs could be years, maybe decades away, or perhaps never in some areas.
It's also interesting to zoom out, like the article does, and see this in the global picture.
Yeah, this isn't happening in a vacuum. There's a huge surge in interest in anti-aging science worldwide.
A longevity race, as the article puts it.
Pretty much. Nations, wealthy individuals. Lots of money and effort pouring into this field globally.
Driven by scientific advances and maybe just the basic human desire to live longer, healthier lives.
I think so. So Russia's initiative is kind of their entry into this increasingly crowded and competitive space.
The article even throws in Dmitry Itskov.
The entrepreneur with a very ambitious goal.
Transferring human consciousness into machines by 2035. That's right there.
It definitely represents the more, let's say, transhumanist end of the spectrum, but it shows the kind of radical thinking that exists around longevity.
Kind of underscores the scale of ambition, even if it's extreme.
Exactly. It highlights that some people are thinking way beyond just adding a few healthy years. Maybe it hints at the deeper, longer-term dreams underpinning some of this research.
So we've covered the plan, the science, the players, the progress, the problems. Where does this leave us? It raises so many questions.
It really does.
Like, what's the primary driver here for Russia? Is it strategy, showing off scientific muscle, tackling their demographic issues?
Or is it a genuine public health push? Or even, a legacy project for Putin?
It feels like it could be a mix of all those things, couldn't it?
It's likely confluence, yeah. The public health angle with life expectancy, the government push, key figures with personal interest. It's complex. Hard to pin down one single motive.
What strikes you as most significant about it?
For me, it's how it slots into that global longevity race.
Yeah.
If one country, or even a few, make major breakthroughs, what happens then?
The ethical questions.
Huge ethical questions. Societal shifts. What if healthy lifespan extension becomes a reality, but only for some?
Yeah, the access issue, a potential divide between the longevity have and have-nots.
It's a major concern. And the international competition. Could it get intense? What does that future look like?
It feels like we're standing at the edge of something potentially transformative, doesn't it? For better or worse.
You could be. Russia jumping into this field isn't just about science. It has geopolitical echoes, economic ones, societal ones, far beyond their borders.
So it forces us to think not just about the can we do it, but the what happens if we do it.
Exactly. It pushes us to grapple with the implications of potentially altering something as fundamental as human aging.
Yeah.
Definitely something to keep thinking about.